Hey gamers, let's talk about remasters. Yeah, that topic. Well, at the time of making this video, it is March 9th. Tomorrow, March 10th, the DMC Devil May Cry remaster launches on PS4 and Xbox One. At the end of the month, or towards the end of the month, on March 24th, we have the Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, remaster collection launching on PS4 and Xbox One as well. And so I wanted to talk about remasters. Seemed like a good month to do it with a couple of them coming out. There's some people like myself who have no problem with these remasters, in fact, welcome them. And then there are other people in the gaming community that seem to be against them and even sometimes get downright hostile when it comes to these remasters, saying, fuck these remasters. I've heard that said. Now, I get some of their frustration. Some of these releases are overpriced, especially when it's a single game. I mean, right now you can buy DMC on Xbox 360 and PS3 for less than $20 new, and it's coming out for $40. Double the price, more than double the price. You know, that is kind of, yeah, you know, the game's been out since 2013. It's kind of, you know, I think this thing should be like $29.99, but it's $39.99. Same with as much as I love The Last of Us, I think The Last of Us was overpriced. It should have been $40. But, you know, if people are willing to pay it, you know what I'm saying? What are you going to do, right? But I understand some of the frustration. But one of the things that people seem to keep repeating in videos against these remasters and even in comments is that these developers and publishers are putting out these remasters. They're cash grabs, first of all, and also they are neglecting new games. They're like, fuck these remasters, I want new games. And this, to me, is a bit short-sighted, and it assumes a lot. It assumes that these remasters are being made to the detriment of new games. I think, guys, it's probably the opposite. In an age where revenue is down, in an age where publishers are struggling and developers are certainly struggling to keep their doors open, remastering a game and putting in, let's face it, minimal amount of investment for a maximum amount of return on that investment. Sorry, I'm stuttering here. It's definitely something I don't think we want to discourage in the gaming industry. They need more money coming in. I would argue these remastered games, or the profits from them, will go to fund new games and put more manpower into these new games that they're working on. The other thing is, do you actually think that the A teams at these developers and publishers are working on these remasters? Like, I've heard Randy Pitchford talk about how there's an entirely different company, all right, that's doing the Borderlands remaster. It's not Gearbox doing it. The Last of Us, you think it was the guys working on Uncharted 4 that said, okay, you know what, let's stop working on Uncharted 4 and let's work on 1080p 60 frames and up-resing The Last of Us. No, they had a B team, probably a C team working on that. Probably graduates, guys, you know, new graduates from schools that, you know, they want to get into game development, that want to work for AAA studios. You know, they're looking for work, man. And it's a perfect project for them. Think about that, right? How do they get their foot in the door? You think they're just putting them onto AAA development? No. The guys that are working on Uncharted 4 or whatever other things that Naughty Dog are working on, they didn't remaster The Last of Us. There may have been one or two guys that oversaw the project and, you know, would get some feedback from them here and then. But I'm sure it did not take away from their work on Uncharted 4 or other games. I really don't think so. Saints Row 4, a company called High Voltage remastered that. It wasn't Volition. Yeah, and I have to be honest, it's a bit of a lazy port, but that's not the point. I don't think that remastered games are taking away at all from the creation of new games. If anything, like I said, I think they fund new games, and they are healthy for the games industry. Now, to a large extent, I kind of wish they didn't have to exist, in the sense that I wish these consoles had backwards compatibility, but unfortunately they do not. And it doesn't hurt to take great games and, you know, retweak them and make them look and run better than ever before, at least for console gamers. I know PC guys are going to say, oh, they always look that way for me. Yeah, we know, okay? I'm talking about in the context of consoles. So I think the issue for me comes down to certain games I don't know, like, for instance, Sleeping Dogs. You know, I'm not saying Sleeping Dogs was a bad game. I never played it. I really never had that much interest in it. But who was clamoring for that? You know, I think Square Enix just wanted to make more money on the game. And look, if it sold, more power to them. I'm not going to say it was a bad move on their part. But yeah, there are certain curious ones. It's like, who really wanted that? And having said that, now let me talk about some remasters that I want to see. Number one on my list, the number one remastered collection I want to see is a BioShock collection from 2K. I want to see BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite with all the DLC, 1080p, 60 frames. There's no reason why both the Xbox One and certainly the PS4, but even the Xbox One should be able to do 1080p, 60 frames on those games. And I think it'll happen. I think 2K would be fools to sit on the BioShock games and not do a collection of those. Maybe do all three for like $50, something like that, with all the DLC. Because BioShock 1 is one of my favorite games of the last generation. I love those. I love the BioShock franchise. I love BioShock 2. People shit on that game, but I think BioShock 2 is great. It's not as good as 1 and 3, but it's still a good game. And then, of course, an Uncharted collection, which I also believe will happen. I think Sony would be stupid not to release a remaster collection. We know there have been like polls that something around a third or like 30% of PS4 owners never had a PS3. They came over, either they only had a 360 or maybe they only had a Wii when they were young and only recently got into different kinds of gaming. Who knows? But they never owned a PS3, like 30%, which is just crazy to me. So they've never even played Uncharted. And with Uncharted 4 coming out, it just seems like you couldn't do anything more obvious than to put out a remastered Uncharted collection. And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen probably this year before Uncharted 4 drops. And of course, over on the Xbox side, my other favorite exclusive franchise on the other side, Gears of War. I mentioned in one of my recent videos, I want to see a Gears of War collection. I'm pretty confident that'll happen. We haven't heard anything out of Microsoft yet, but I would very much like to see Gears 1, 2, and 3, and I guess Judgment, even though Judgment, in my opinion, was pretty shit. I would like to see a collection of the Gears games, definitely, So, and there's others that will probably happen, or there's been rumors like, Mass Effect. I don't know if I'd buy that, but there's definitely people that would be interested in that. I've heard Dead Space, 1, 2, and 3. That might be interesting. That one, I don't know, man. I do like Dead Space, but I don't know. It'd have to be cheap. And, games like that. There's probably some others. I've heard of, people want Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. I don't see that happening. I don't know what it is, man. I don't see Bethesda investing in that. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'd probably pick that up. If I could get, Skyrim and Fallout 3 and whatnot remastered, I'd probably get that. But, I don't see that coming. The thing I want out of Bethesda more than anything else is fucking Fallout 4. And I'm pretty confident we're going to get word on that within the coming months. Remaster games, guys, what do you think? Do they bother you? Do you honestly believe that these developers are putting resources into these games that they could otherwise put towards new games? Do you think these remasters are done to the detriment of new game creation? I really do not believe they are. And I don't see how it hurts anybody to have great games like Borderlands 2, The Last of Us, the Metro games. A lot of people never even bought the Metro games last generation, and now they're discovering them for the first time. The Metro games are fucking awesome, man. I love 2033 and Last Light. Great games. So, yeah, what do you think? That's it, guys. Let me know. Bye-bye.